Welcome to the queue for Commonwealth Turn 3. Just about everybody's at war. There's still a little political situation in the Pacific. Commonwealth troops have been issued from the Institute of Pacific Relations a pamphlet on Know Your Enemy, Japan. So they are getting to know their enemy, but they are not going to war with that enemy. So right now, well, before we get there, here's their purchase for Commonwealth. They had, 24 to spend, and that is tank, artillery, 2 infantry, and a destroyer for 24. So the political situation is, in the Pacific, the U.S. has declared war on the Axis. So everyone's at war with somebody right now because Italy attacked Russia. So who is not at war? Russia and Japan are not officially at war. Who's not at war? UK and Japan. Commonwealth and Japan are not at war yet. France, you can see the big arrow, is declaring war on Japan on their turn. And really, that's completely separate from Commonwealth. But either way, that's how we're going to play this game. So there are 0 attacks for the Commonwealth. But let me get to 2 things first. On the British turn, these Commonwealth troops were on that transport. They do not get to get off the transport until the Commonwealth turn, which is now. So I'll go ahead and move them there. So it's one of those things when you're filming your turn and you know the rule and you just kind of blow right by it. So the ship moved, but they could not disembark until Commonwealth turn. Taken care of. All right, so in the north, there'll be no changes, London or Canada. Down here, the other thing, Italy had placed a factory, and you can only place factories in territories with 2 or greater IPC values. So they have chosen to bank the $12 on that factory and spend it on the next turn. I did offer him, he can just place 12 IPCs worth of units up here, but he's just going to bank it, which, you know, probably a good call. So let's get on with our movements. We'll start right down here. And we're going to widen it. Now, can I remember? I did remember. All right, so we can see all of Africa here. So I had to put that orange chip because I was out of the yellow markers or arrows. But I wanted to make sure I moved this transport from C-Zone 76 down to C-Zone 71. So put that out of the way and get the chip off the table. All right, so we have an artillery in Ethiopia, which will be stepping up into Sudan. And we have an infantry in Italian Somaliland, stepping up into Ethiopia. We have an infantry in Kenya, stepping up into Sudan. We will have rail movement of 2 infantry from South Africa, 1, 2, 3, into Sudan. Lining them up all menacingly like. Then we have an artillery in South Africa, which can move 1, 2 into Tanganyika. If that's spelled right or not. All right, I'll do the French movements on their turn. In the Middle East here, we have from Eastern Iran to Iran, 1 infantry. We have a fighter from from India at an air base. So that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and land in Ethiopia. All right, let me grab markers. We have some movements here from Sumatra. We're going to grab 1 infantry and load it on the transport and drop the transport and then pick the transport up again and go from 41, 1, 2, into the Celebes Islands, or Celebes, however you want to say that. So we'll move them up 2 to 23 on the income tracker. And now for some treachery. we are going to, because we do know our enemy, we are going to send this destroyer from 54, 1, 2, and we're going to nestle it right between those transports there. All right, so what that does is when Japan declares war on us, this is a hostile sea zone. They cannot load those two transports. Now, the gamble is that that's what's going to happen, because he could have just been sending those transports back and fortifying that island. If that's the case, I threw away a destroyer. Either way, that's how we're going to play that one. All right, so since the capital is defended by just 2 anti-aircraft guns, we're going to move an infantry and artillery. No, we're not. We're just going to move 1 infantry down because we're buying an infantry for there. All right, so that is those 2. And because U.S. is at war and we're all at war with Germany, we're going to send this cruiser from Sea Zone 54 at a naval base. 1, 2, 3, join the Pacific Fleet, along with 2 fighters from Queensland at an air base. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and land on Hawaii for a potential scramble. All right, leaving that British destroyer alone to suffer his fate. All right, I think that's it for the movements. Let's place our units. We're going to place an infantry in Sydney. In South Africa, we are placing an armor, a artillery, and an infantry. And then our last placement of the destroyer goes up to Sea Zone 106. And that is it for Commonwealth. They have not declared war on Japan, so they do not get this bonus. But I'd like to thank the International Pacific Relations Committee for giving us this pamphlet. And it was printed, I think it's 1942. So that's pretty cool. I got that yesterday as a gift from somebody. So their income, let's take that off because they have 23 on the income tracker. And I'm going to throw chips everywhere. There's your 20. There's your 3. And as far as the bonuses go, I can't collect the job. Well, the current one for Java. Where is my little card for Java there? Oh, that's the one where they're at war. So never mind that one. All right, so I do have 3 of the following. So I will get 3 for having Italian, Somaliland, Ethiopia, and Iran, Eastern Iran. So there will be an additional 3, and that will be it because I'm not at war with Japan. So that'll be 26 for Commonwealth on the next turn, and I'm sure at that point this pamphlet will come into use. All right, so French. It is their turn, and they are declaring war, and they march into Guangxi, but they don't get it for all their hard work. So it goes to China. So China will go up to 4, and Japan will go down 1 to 34. All right, so other Frenchy moves is this French infantry moves into Egypt. And the last move is French West Africa up to Casablanca. That concludes our turn. So let's look and see where our guys are. All right, so in Sea Zone 106, we have 2 destroyers. Up in London, we have 3 infantry, 1 armor, 2 French infantry, 1 French fighter. And in Dutch, well, it's no longer Dutch because we took it from the Dutch. Suriname, I've got the Devils Brigade infantry and an artillery. Down here in South Africa, I have What do I have here? Infantry, artillery, tank, C-Zone 71, I have a transport. Tanganyika, an armor. Sudan, 3 infantry, 2 artillery. Ethiopia, 1 infantry, 1 fighter. Iran, 1 infantry. Sumatra, 1 infantry. Java, 1 infantry. Celebes, 1 infantry. C-Zone 44, 1 transport. Sydney, 2 infantry, 2 artillery. Queensland, infantry, artillery. Sneaky destroyer in C-Zone 33. Hawaii, 2 fighters. In C-Zone 26, 1 cruiser. And halfway through that, we do have 1 French infantry in Guangxi, 1 French destroyer in 81, 1 French infantry in Egypt, and 1 French infantry in Morocco. And I was considering, as I was reading that off, moving something, but I think I'll wait a turn for the French. So there is your units, and now we are waiting on turn 4, in which we will roll dice for tech that we buy. So for 1 IPP or IPC, you buy 1 dice, and you buy as many dice as you want, up to 10. So I don't recommend buying 10, but I've seen it before. So there you have it. Germany is up next. Good luck. Not really.